Imagine walking into any room and instantly knowing you belong there. Not because you're louder, richer, or more flamboyant than anyone else, but because your presence alone draws people in. Picture inspiring attraction without forcing it, speaking with the kind of poise that makes others stop and listen, and radiating an aura that commands respect without aggression. What if I told you that seduction, confidence, and true personal power are not rare gifts reserved for a lucky few but skills anyone can develop, and that your path to mastering them could begin right now? In this journey, we'll uncover how to become magnetic not just in romance, but in the deeper sense of the word seduce, to inspire, to attract, to create a natural pull that makes others want to be around you. We'll explore how to build unshakable confidence that doesn't crumble under pressure. We'll reveal the secret to true power not through domination, but through influence, self-mastery, and presence. And by the end, you'll discover a principle so powerful it could forever change how you move through the world and how the world responds to you. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe, give this video a like, and share it with someone who's ready to grow into the best version of themselves. As you listen, leave a comment with your reflections because the ideas we'll explore are meant to spark something deep. Now, let's start with the first truth. Attraction, confidence, and power all come from the same root: self-respect. Without self-respect, attempts at seduction look desperate. Displays of confidence feel like a mask. Efforts to appear powerful collapse under the slightest challenge. Aristotle once said, "Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom." In the same way, respecting yourself is the beginning of all magnetism. Think about the people you're naturally drawn to. They're not always the loudest, the most attractive, or the most outgoing. Instead, they have an undeniable energy, calm-centered, unapologetically themselves. Psychologists call this authentic presence, the ability to project confidence without arrogance, inspire trust without effort, and make others feel seen without dominating the space. But here's the key. If you want to seduce others, you must first seduce yourself. That means falling in love with the person you are becoming, cultivating habits and thoughts that reinforce your worth. Ask yourself, if I truly valued myself, how would I walk? How would I speak? How would I respond to rejection or setbacks? Others can feel when you live in alignment with your values. It shows in your posture, your tone, even your silences. That's why confidence isn't something you put on before a social event, it's something you become. And this becoming is a practice. Psychologist Albert Bandura's research on self-efficacy shows that belief in your own ability to succeed is one of the strongest predictors of actual success. The more you prove to yourself that you can handle challenges, the more your confidence hardens into something unshakable. But seduction and power are about more than confidence. They're about creating an emotional experience that others want. To return to, Dale Carnegie once observed that people rarely remember what you say, but they always remember how you made them feel. If you can leave people feeling valued, inspired, or understood, you become magnetic. Here's a reflection for you. How often do you walk into a room worried about what people will think of you instead of asking what you can give to them? That shift from self-consciousness to other consciousness is transformative. When you stop performing and start focusing on creating warmth, curiosity, and genuine interest, your energy changes. You stop taking and start giving. And people instinctively want to be near you. This doesn't mean ignoring your own needs or pretending to care when you don't. It means developing the flexibility to step into another person's perspective, to sense the unspoken dynamics of a situation, and to respond with genuine engagement. Whether you're in a romantic setting, a business meeting, or a casual conversation, this ability makes you unforgettable. Yet so many people sabotage themselves before they even begin. Weighed down by self-doubt, they assume others are more capable, more deserving. They wait for the right moment to act, to speak, to take a risk, and in doing so, they surrender their power. Here's the truth. Power is rarely given. It is taken, not through force but through self-assertion. The quiet act of standing tall, meeting someone's eyes without flinching, speaking your truth without apology. These are the first steps to becoming truly powerful. In the next stage of our journey, we'll dive into the psychology of attraction and influence, the subtle cues that trigger trust, desire, and respect long before a single word is spoken. Because influence doesn't start with logic, it starts with presence, with energy, with body language and tone. Neuroscientists studying mirror neurons have found that we unconsciously read and reflect the emotions of those around us. When you radiate calm certainty, others feel at ease in your presence, and that ease makes you magnetic. Think about the last time you met someone who was completely comfortable in their own skin. What did you notice first? Probably their posture: shoulders relaxed, chin lifted just enough, eyes steady but never intimidating. Their movements were deliberate, never rushed. Without saying a word, they projected both authority and approachability. That is the art of physical presence. The body speaks before the mouth does, and often louder. Standing tall signals confidence. Fidgeting or avoiding eye contact signals insecurity. That's why powerful leaders, captivating speakers, and masterful seducers all invest in mastering their nonverbal communication. Start simple. Walk with intention. Keep a grounded stance. Practice the discipline of stillness. In a world addicted to constant motion, the one who can be still radiates strength. But presence isn't just physical, it's also vocal. Tone carries more weight than words. A confident tone isn't necessarily loud. It's steady, warm, and measured. Take a simple sentence. It's good to see you. Say it rushed and distracted, and it feels empty. Say it calmly, attentively, with sincerity, and it creates connection. That's the power of your voice. True seduction, though, is not about manipulating others into wanting you. It's about creating an atmosphere where they naturally do. The philosopher Voltaire once said, "Love truth, but pardon error." In the same way, magnetic people embrace authenticity, including their imperfections. Perfection feels distant, even cold. Authenticity feels warm, human, and inviting. People aren't drawn to flawless masks. They're drawn to real human beings, those confident enough to show vulnerability. This is where confidence meets empathy. To truly reach someone's mind and heart, you must see them, not just their words, but the emotions underneath. Ask questions that go deeper. Listen in a way that makes them feel understood. When someone feels genuinely seen, they connect you with comfort, trust, and excitement. That combination is irresistible. Psychologist Robert Cialdini, in his studies on influence, identified liking as one of the core principles of persuasion. People are more easily influenced by those they like, and we tend to like the people who make us feel good about ourselves. This doesn't mean fake compliments or shallow flattery. Those are transparent and often backfire. Instead, it's about genuinely noticing what's admirable in others and letting them feel seen for it. And here's the deeper truth. It's not just about words. It's about presence, authenticity, and the energy you bring. Every social interaction carries an emotional tone, and whoever sets that tone holds subtle power in the exchange. If you are calm, others become calmer. If you are enthusiastic, others feel more energized. Learning to lead the emotional climate of a room is one of the most overlooked and most powerful forms of influence. True power is not about controlling others. It's about emotional sovereignty, the ability to remain steady regardless of external noise. This doesn't mean being cold or indifferent. It means refusing to be ruled by negativity. If someone insults you or challenges you unfairly, insecurity reacts with defensiveness. Power responds with composure, clarity, and grace. That response alone signals to the world, my confidence cannot be shaken. History is filled with examples. Nelson Mandela, who walked free after decades of imprisonment with dignity intact. Eleanor Roosevelt, who reminded us that no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. Their magnetism didn't come from chasing approval, it came from embodying unshakable certainty. Now let's bring this to the personal level. If you want others to be drawn to you, stop seeking constant validation. That's the paradox of seduction. The more you need someone's approval, the less attractive you become. True allure comes from wanting, but not needing. From appreciating attention, but not depending on it. When your life is full, when you have passions, purpose, and curiosity that exists beyond the opinions of others, you radiate independence, and independence is magnetic. Ask yourself, if I met myself at a party, would I be intrigued enough to keep talking? If the answer is uncertain, the work is clear. Become the kind of person you would find fascinating. Learn, grow, feed your curiosity. People who are constantly evolving carry a spark that others can't resist because growth itself is magnetic. Now, let's go deeper into the strategic psychology of attraction and influence. Influence is not about domination. It's about shaping the emotional and psychological space in which decisions are made. When you understand how people think, feel, and respond, you can communicate in ways that inspire, guide, and even transform them. One of the first principles is framing. Framing is how you present an idea so it lands in the most favorable light. The same facts, framed differently, can change everything. Instead of saying, "I need you to help me," you might say, "We could create something remarkable together." The facts remain, but the frame shifts from obligation to opportunity. Framing works hand in hand with storytelling. Humans are wired for stories. They bypass the rational mind and go straight to emotion. A well-told story creates a shared reality, one people can feel. Plato understood this when he said, "Those who tell the stories rule society," whether in romance, negotiation, or public speaking. Storytelling is one of the most powerful tools of seduction and persuasion. And then there's timing, knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. Silence, when intentional, builds anticipation. It conveys thoughtfulness. It challenges others to fill the space, often revealing more than they intended. The confident person is never afraid of pauses because they're not rushing to prove their value. Finally, let's talk about charisma, the mysterious quality that makes some people irresistible even without wealth or extraordinary looks. Charisma is not magic. It's the perfect blend of warmth and authority. Too much warmth without authority, and people may like you but not respect you. Too much authority without warmth, and people may respect you but never feel close to you. Charisma is the balance, the sweet spot where people feel both cared for and guided. That is the essence of magnetic presence. If you lean only on authority, without warmth, People may respect you, but they will feel distant. The truly magnetic individual balances both, creating a sense of safety and excitement in equal measure. To develop this balance, you must learn to consciously modulate your energy. When warmth is needed, you lean into active listening, open body language, and genuine appreciation. When authority is required, you speak with clarity, maintain firm boundaries, and project certainty. Switching between these modes is not manipulation, it's mastery, and like any skill, it can be practiced and refined. Confidence and power also depend on your ability to handle rejection and setbacks with grace. The difference between those who thrive socially and those who fade into the background is not that the first group never faces rejection, it's that they see rejection as feedback, not a final verdict. When you internalize the belief that every experience is a lesson, your confidence becomes unshakable. And in the world of influence, resilience is one of the strongest silent signals of power. Another principle is the law of scarcity. Human psychology tells us we value what is rare. If you are constantly available, constantly chasing, constantly seeking, your presence loses its impact. By creating moments of absence, cultivating a rich life outside of any single interaction, and holding back from oversharing every detail, you elevate your value. This is not about playing games. It's about living authentically in a way that makes your time and attention genuinely precious. And then there's emotional intelligence. Daniel Goleman, who popularized the concept, defined it as the ability to recognize, understand, and influence emotions in yourself and others. High emotional intelligence allows you to read the room, detect subtle shifts in mood, and adapt your approach. With it, you become adaptable, approachable, and effective in every context, social, romantic, or professional. Without it, charm becomes shallow, easily misapplied. With it, you can navigate even delicate interactions with ease, leaving people feeling seen and respected. Think of emotional intelligence as the steering wheel of seduction and confidence. It guides everything else. Finally, we arrive at the principle of consistency. People trust and follow those whose actions align with their words. Inconsistency erodes confidence both in the eyes of others and within yourself. But each time you follow through on a promise, even a small one, you reinforce your own reliability. That quiet self-trust becomes one of the most attractive qualities you can ever project. Now we come to the final truth, the force that unites seduction, confidence, and influence into one. This truth is deceptively simple. The greatest seduction, the deepest confidence, and the truest power all come from authenticity, living in full alignment with your highest values. It may sound poetic, but it is grounded in psychology, philosophy, and human behavior. The most magnetic individuals are internally congruent. Their thoughts, words, and actions move in the same direction. There is no hidden conflict, no mask that slips under pressure, no scrambling to maintain a false image. This congruence is rare, and because it is rare, it is irresistible. Why is it so powerful? Because humans are naturally drawn to clarity. When we sense that someone knows who they are, what they stand for, and where they are going, we instinctively trust them. They become an anchor in a chaotic world. This is why leaders who embody authenticity inspire loyalty. This is why lovers who express themselves honestly build deeper bonds. And this is why authenticity is not just the foundation of attraction and influence, it is the ultimate form of power. And this is why friends who are consistent in their presence become invaluable. To embody this level of authenticity, you must first know your core values, not the ones you think you should have, although society tells you are correct, but the principles you truly live by when no one is watching. Write them down, refine them, make them unshakable. Then measure your daily actions against them. Every time you act in alignment, your confidence strengthens. Every time you betray them, even in small ways, you weaken your foundation. But here's the reality. Living authentically does not mean you'll be universally liked. In fact, often, the opposite occurs. Authenticity naturally repels those who are misaligned with your values. Yet, this is the paradox. By no longer chasing universal approval, you become infinitely more attractive to the people who resonate with who you truly are. Your presence becomes a filter, drawing in the right connections and opportunities, while allowing the wrong ones to fall away. Seduction rooted in authenticity is the only kind that lasts. The world is full of tactics, tricks, and surface-level strategies for attraction, but they're fragile. They demand constant performance. The moment you're tired, distracted, or unmotivated, they collapse. Authentic seduction, on the other hand, is effortless. Because it isn't performance, it's simply the natural expression of your inner state. You don't have to think about how to be attractive, you simply are. When authenticity combines with self-respect, emotional intelligence, and the ability to guide the emotional climate, it creates a magnetic field that cannot be faked. This is the state where people start seeking you out. Opportunities appear without forcing them. Influence flows naturally. You stop trying to get noticed because you've become the person people notice, without even knowing why. And this is where true power also takes root. Power without authenticity is fragile. It depends on external control and endless effort. To maintain an image, power with authenticity is unshakable, because it is rooted in truth. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it." If it is not true, do not say it. This is the essence of authentic power, doing and speaking only what aligns with your principles regardless of the cost. Integrity commands respect without ever demanding it. There's another dimension here. Authenticity frees you from fear. Most social anxiety, most fear of rejection, and most hesitation come from worrying about how others will react to the version of ourselves we present. But when that version is simply who we truly are, there is nothing to defend. You cannot be caught pretending if you are not pretending, and the absence of fear radiates outward as confidence, making you naturally persuasive and compelling. So, how do you live this way in practice? Start small. Be honest in conversations where you'd normally stay silent. Respect your boundaries when it's inconvenient. Pursue goals that truly excite you even if they don't match others' expectations. Over time, these small acts of courage accumulate into a life that feels whole and unshakable. And remember, the journey to becoming magnetic, confident, and powerful is not a performance, it is a transformation. You are not adding layers to impress others, you are peeling away the unnecessary until what remains is your truest self. Standing tall, without apology. When you embody this, seduction stops being about clever lines or manipulative tactics. It becomes the natural attraction people feel toward truth, confidence, and inner power. And in a world where so many wear masks, being your authentic self is the boldest stand, most seductive act you can commit. So take these ideas and begin practicing them today. Notice how people respond when you show up fully present, aligned, and unapologetically yourself. Watch how your confidence grows when your actions match your principles, and feel the subtle, unstoppable shift as you stop trying to be powerful and start being powerful. Because in the end, the greatest seduction is not making others fall. For you, it is making them see the world differently after meeting you. And that begins the moment you decide to live as the most authentic version of yourself.